Welcome to Going Over Calculus Lesson 5.3 Homework, page 290. Start with number 1. Notice at the top of the page, we've got 3 different pieces of information here. All of them are definite integrals. The first 2 happen to deal with the function f of x. The third one deals with the function g of x. Notice also the limits. The first one is from 1 to 2, the second one 1 to 5, and the third one is also 1 to 5. Remember, a definite integral represents area, so that's our area for the first definite integral. There's our area for the second definite integral and the third area. Let's start with A. On problem A, it is g of x, that's the function, but the key thing is take a look at the limits. They are exactly the same. So this is an area between the function g of x and the x-axis from x equals 2 to x equals 2. Well, there is no area because the width is 0. So we talked about this. There's no area. The limits are the same. We've got an answer of 0. Let's go to B. Notice on B, it is g of x. That's the third one up top. But notice what they did to the limits. They flipped them. The one up top had the limits of 1 to 5. This one has the limits 5 to 1. Gonna be the same area, but you're going in the opposite direction from right to left on the x-axis. So, hey, that makes our answer a -8. Notice we had 8 up here for the area. This is going the opposite directions. All they did was switch the limits. It's going to be a -8. Let's look at C. Notice on C, we talked about this the other day. We have a constant times a function. On this, we want to bring that constant out in front of the integral symbol. So here we go. 3 times the integral 1 to 2 of f of x. Bring the constant out front. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. There we go. Now, 3 times, we know what that answer is. From 1 to 2, that was the very first one, and that answer is -4. Here we go. -4. There we go. Multiply it now. 3 times -4, -12. Again, the constant is pulled out in front of the integral. Let's look at this one. This is probably the toughest one right here. Let's go green on this one. Notice this. This is an f of x function, and they want the integral from 2 to 5. Take a look at the little equation I'm going to write down below. I have an integral, let's say from 1 to 2 of f of x, plus the integral from 2 to 5 of f of x. That would equal the integral from, what do you think the limits would be on this third one? Add these 2 integrals up. The first one is from 1 to 2. The second one is 2 to 5. Add them up, and yes, you're going to get it all the way from 1 all the way to 5 of f of x. Same function for each one. So now take a look. The first one here, we know that. The 1 to 2 of f of x, that's -4. Here we go. Put -4 plus. This one here, this is the one they want to know. So let's put that right here. Okay, let's move this down a little bit. There we go. The integral of 2 to 5 f of x dx equals, now the third one from 1 to 5. That was up here given to us. That area is 6. So let's put that here. Here we go. There it is. Now take a look. This is what they want you to get by itself. So on both sides of the equation, let's add 4, there it is. We've got it. The integral from 2 to 5 of f of x dx is going to be 10. Okay, our last one on this one, actually second to the last one, is this one right here. Let's look at it. We've got the integral of f of x minus g of x. So we said the other day in the properties, let's go ahead and break it up. The integral of the first one minus the integral of the second one. So there it is. The difference of the integral, we're going to take the integral of the first one minus the integral of the second one. So hey, let's go see. From 1 to 5 f of x, that was at the top. Yep, that was 6. Right here, minus 1 to 5 of g of x, that was 8. 6 minus 8, we've got our answer, -2. Now, take a look at the very last one, f. Let's make it a little smaller. We could fit it in here. Let's raise it up a little bit. There we go. We got a little room. Okay, let's work on this one here. So now, it's going to be the integral of one function, 4 times one function, minus the other function. Break it up. The integral from 1 to 5 of 4 times f of x dx minus the integral 1 to 5 of g of x dx. Hey, there's a constant here. There's a constant 4. Bring that out front. Okay, here we go. Bring it out front. 4 times the integral 1 to 5 of f of x dx minus the integral of 1 to 5 g of x dx. Okay, 4 times this one right here was 6 minus this one right here was 8. So we've got 24 minus 8. Our answer is 16. Let's go to problem 4. Very similar type problem on problem 4. We'll kind of increase it. There we go. On problem 4, they do give us the one piece of information up at the top. And again, remember, the information there, it's a definite integral. It represents an area. So the first one here, let's see what's the difference. Hey, all they did was switch the limits. The original one was -3 to 0. This is 0 to -3. Same function. Hey, we're just going from right to left instead of left to right. So instead of that area being √2, it's going to be -√2. Notice this one, B. It's the exact same problem, except they changed the variable. No problem at all. It's the same area. So that's going to be exactly the same as the one you see up top. That's √2, because it's the exact same area, -3 to 0, of that g function. Let's go down to C. Now, notice what they did here. They have a constant times the function. The constant is -1. So let's factor out, or not factor, but let's bring out that -1 in front. -1 times the integral -3 to 0 of g of x. So here we go. We've got -1 times the square root of 2. Perfect. That's -√2. D, let's look at D. Again, they have on D, they have a constant multiplied times the function. I'll show it to you here. We have -3 to 0. The constant is 1 over √2 times g of r dr. So this right here is the constant that I'm talking about. I'm going to bring it in front then. Here we go. 1 over √2 times the integral -3 to 0 of g of r dr. That's going to be 1 over √2 times this right here. They gave it to us, times √2. Hey, 1 over √2 times √2, that's just 1. Okay. The last couple problems I'll put in part 2.